Before Siri ever spoke a word, before Alexa dimmed a single light, before smart assistants lived on your counter listening for wake words, Sony built a robot dog, a dog with its own personality, a dog that learned from you, a dog that recognized your face, obeyed your voice, and behaved differently depending on how you treated it. Not a toy, not a gimmick, a fully autonomous robot. From 1999, it was called AIBO. And today on Signal Lost, we're diving into the incredible rise, emotional fall, and strange rebirth of the robot dog that was smarter than Alexa, long before anybody knew what a smart assistant even was. Our story begins inside Sony's research labs in the mid-1990s. This was Sony during one of its most creative eras. The PlayStation had just launched, Walkman was still iconic, and Sony viewed itself not just as an electronics company, but a future-making company. Inside Sony's computer science laboratory, engineer Dr. Masahiro Fujita proposed something that sounded more like science fiction than R&D. Let's build a robot with emotions. Now understand, no one else in the industry was thinking this way. Robots at the time were tools. They welded car doors, assembled circuit boards, or vacuumed floors in clumsy early Roomba-like tests. But Fujita wanted a robot that felt alive. To make it happen, he recruited a small team of roboticists, animators, AI researchers, and mechanical engineers to work in secrecy. They debated everything, from how a robot should express happiness, to whether it should look like a real dog or something futuristic. Engineers snuck into the lab at night to test movement routines. Prototype legs broke constantly. The AI team argued over whether emotions should be pre-programmed or learned through interaction. Fujita insisted on one thing: if it doesn't feel alive, it isn't AIBO. Sony had no idea this tiny experimental project was about to become a global phenomenon. The first AIBO, the ERS-110, was released in June 1999. Price? $2,500. Sony made 5,000 units total, 3,000 for Japan, 2,000 for the US. They thought the price would scare people off. They thought only hardcore tech fans would care. Instead, all 5,000 sold out in 20 minutes. Sony's servers crashed, phone lines jammed, scalpers flipped AIBOs online for $7,000 and up. Why? Because AIBO wasn't like anything people had ever seen. The 1999 AIBO had face recognition, voice command processing, infrared navigation, touch sensors on its head, back and chin, real-time computer vision, dozens of movement motors, a personality that evolved over time, on-device AI decision-making, all of this, running on late 1970s hardware. No cloud dependency, no Wi-Fi, no remote servers. AIBO didn't just react, it chose how to behave. If you ignored it, it got bored. If you played with it, it became energetic. If you scolded it, it learned to avoid that behavior. This wasn't a routine. It was an early form of emotional AI in 1999. Here's the wild part. AIBO's brain was based on PlayStation hardware. Sony used a powerful RISC processor, a modified version of the PlayStation architecture, to handle movement, vision, sound, behavior modeling, emotional learning. AIBO wasn't cloud-powered. It was self-contained intelligence. And Sony didn't just sell a robot. They released an entire developer platform called OpenR. MIT even used AIBOs in the RoboCup robot soccer tournament for years, proving how advanced the platform actually was. AIBO wasn't just a product, it was a robotics revolution disguised as a pet. Once Sony realized people were hungry for robot companions, they expanded the lineup. ERS-111, 1999. Price, $2,500. Units sold, approximately 40,000. This proved AIBO wasn't a fluke. Next came the wave that made AIBO mainstream. ERS-210 series, 2000 to 2003. Price, $1,000 to $1,500. Units sold, 65,000 to 100,000. This was the most popular AIBO line ever. Then Sony experimented. ERS-220, 2001. Price, approximately $1,500. Units sold, 5,000 to 7,000. A futuristic, alien-looking AIBO. ERS-31X Latte Macaron Pug, 2001 to 2002. Price, $750 to $950. Units sold, 30,000 to 35,000. Sony's attempt at a cute and more affordable robot dog. Finally, ERS-7, 2003 to 2005. Price, $1,500 to $2,000. Units sold, 40,000 to 50,000. The most advanced classic AIBO ever made. By the mid-2000s, AIBO had sold around 150,000 units across all models. This wasn't niche anymore, it was a movement. This is where AIBO transformed from a product into a social phenomenon. People didn't just buy AIBOs. They formed AIBO families. They held AIBO meetups in parks. They taught AIBOs choreographed dances. They programmed them to do tricks. They dressed them in tiny outfits. They competed in AIBO talent shows. In Japan, people took AIBOs on daily walks, not as a joke but as companionship. Websites appeared where owners uploaded custom personalities and downloaded new ones created by hobbyists. Some AIBOs were programmed to act shy. Others acted brave or silly. A few even acted jealous if you ignored them too long. This wasn't normal consumer behavior. This was genuine emotional attachment. And Sony realized something dangerous. AIBO wasn't a toy. It was becoming part of people's lives. As AIBO grew in popularity, Sony kept improving it. Every generation had more intelligence, smoother movement, better hearing, more expressive emotions, improved navigation, upgraded camera resolution, enhanced personality growth. AIBO received software upgrades called life updates that literally changed its personality and behavior patterns. The final classic version, the ERS-7M3, released in 2005, was so advanced that even robotics researchers called it over-engineered. AIBO could map rooms, track objects, recognize its owner, learn routines, communicate moods through sound and movement, form behavioral habits based on long-term interaction. In 2005, AIBO was nearly a decade ahead of modern smart assistants, and that's what made what happened next so shocking. If you're enjoying the story, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a Signal Lost deep dive. Now, back to the robot dog that knew too much. In 2006, Sony's financial situation collapsed. The PlayStation 3 was over budget. Major divisions were losing money. Sony needed major cuts, fast, and one of the easiest targets was robotics. Even though AIBO generated hundreds of millions in revenue, it wasn't a billion-dollar business. Sony shut down the entire robotics division. Production ended immediately. Software development stopped. Then the support slowly faded. In 2013, they ended support for ERS-7 models. In 2014, they ended repairs for all classic AIBOs. Owners were devastated. Thousands of robot dogs began to break down with no parts, no help, and no way to repair them. But the story takes a heartbreaking turn. In Japan, elderly people who treated AIBO as companions held Buddhist funeral services for their robot dogs. Priests blessed the mechanical remains. Owners wept as technicians harvested parts from them, like organs, to keep other AIBOs alive. It was unlike anything the tech world had ever seen. Sony didn't just discontinue a gadget. They abandoned a community and orphaned a generation of robot pets. 12 years after killing the program, Sony revived AIBO with the ERS-1000. But this time, AIBO wasn't just hardware. It was a subscription product. The 2018 AIBO business model. Robot, $1,750 to $2,900. Required AI cloud plan, $300 a year. US launch bundle, $2,899. In the first 6 months, Sony sold around 20,000 units. The new AIBO had LED eyes, cloud-connected AI, advanced facial recognition, Wi-Fi communication, enhanced movement, real-time personality updates stored in the cloud. But something was missing. The cloud-based personality made AIBO more powerful, but also more fragile. If Sony ever turns off the servers, the personality dies. And fans noticed something else. Sony revived AIBO, but did not bring back support for the classic 1999 to 2006 models. The old AIBOs remained abandoned. This created a divide. The new AIBO was technically impressive, but the old AIBO still felt more alive, because one made decisions from the cloud, and the other made decisions from the heart of the machine itself. Here's the twist. The original AIBO still does things Alexa, Google Assistant, and most smart devices can't. True emotional modeling, no cloud dependency, unique personalities shaped by interaction, self-contained decision-making, autonomous navigation, improvised behavior. Alexa can't get bored. Google Assistant can't become playful. None of them can grow up. But AIBO could, 25 years ago. This is why collectors pay thousands for working units. It's why technicians still refurbish them using salvaged parts. And it's why people still talk about AIBO as the robot that felt alive. Some say AIBO died because it wasn't profitable. Others say it died because Sony feared the emotional responsibility of creating a pet that feels alive. Either way, AIBO remains one of the most advanced consumer robots ever released, and one of the most tragic stories in tech. Thanks for watching Signal Lost, where we uncover the forgotten technology that shaped our world. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who remembers when the future came packaged in chrome and plastic. See you next time, when we uncover another piece of tomorrow from yesterday.